Didn't execute very well. Weren't disciplined enough, and that's my fault. I'm the coach of the team. I have to find a way to help this team, and I'm not doing a good job of that. We're down the stretch we're not executing, and but that's happening throughout the game at both ends. Missed rotations, missed coverages on defense, and then poor possessions offensively. It's on me.
That to me sounds like a broken coach. Sounds to me like Steve Kerr no longer has the ambition to be a coach. He knows that these are his final years coaching, and it's made him soft. He doesn't want to hurt feelings. He doesn't want to make tough decisions. He wants people to be happy because, well, his career is set. His legacy is set. Right off into the sunset. And he's more worried about the personal relationships with these players than actually coaching them up into being a good basketball team. Now, there was plenty of blame to go around last night, right? But I think what really upset me, the tipping point for me, was Steve doubling down on playing Buddy Hield. You could make the argument that at this point, it would be addition by subtraction. If you just removed Buddy from the rotation, whether it's Pat Spencer in there, Moses, whoever you want to talk about, right? I mean, Buddy has been a disaster. And I just don't understand the commitment, the belief, and the loyalty to a guy new to the organization who's not on some monster contract. Where was this patience and understanding for Kuminga the last 4 years? For Moses Moody, for Clay? Like to double down on that, like that really upset me. And hey, maybe not all things are as they seem. Factor has been a huge supporter of the channel because it's a product that I use and I love. It's fresh, never frozen food delivered directly to your doorstep, and it's created by a team of gourmet chefs using ingredients of integrity. It's 2025, and we're all trying to create healthier habits. But I think the key to doing so is the sustainability of the habits. A lot of people may start meal prepping and doing this. It may last for a week or two, but then you've got all these dishes. You don't want to do all that work. This is where Factor can help you because you've got over 35 choices to choose from each week, whether it's Chef's Choice, Gourmet, Protein Plus. There's something for everybody. And in 2 minutes, your meal is ready to go. It's convenient, it's affordable, and most importantly, it's quality ingredients. So head over to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code 50alchemy for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code 50alchemy for 50% off plus that free shipping at factor75.com. I think that's the storyline right now. You heard Draymond with a quote from Yahoo Sports. Quote, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, and myself all disagree with mortgaging off the future of this organization, saying that we're going for it right now. You heard Steph post-game say there's a responsibility to leave the franchise in a good place moving forward, right? Now, you could look at this one of two ways. One, listen, it's negotiating 101. If the Warriors are trying to make trades right now, they're not going to announce to the rest of the league, we're desperate, we got to do something, right? You could look at it that way. Or if they're actually being honest in these statements, is that not the big three kind of announcing like, hey, it's over for us. Like, we know we don't got enough left for another run. And there's no shame in that big picture. Like the run, the 4, the 10 years, like that's fine, but they've got to pick a direction here, right? And if that's the case, the answer is you trade Draymond. Draymond is the scapegoat. He deserves to be. After all, he's not. No, but seriously, you're not going to trade Steph, right? But if they're putting up their hands and saying, "Hey, it's been a heck of a run. We know internally we don't have the hunger, the want, the juice for another run with our core three, so we don't want to like do the franchise dirty and push them to do that." You trade Draymond, right? You're not going to trade Steph, but he has some, but you trade him to Sacramento for Keegan Murray, trade him to Houston, right? And you say, all right, we can get some draft picks and bring in some young players and try to, do some different things. But you trade Draymond and then Kerr. I know a lot of you are in the comments right now like Kerr been done for all. I get it. I'm with y'all at this point. Like at this point, I see a dude with no coaching ambition, and he's a soft coach. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. He's never had to be a tough coach. From day one, we had so much talent and so much success. It was more about managing the egos, right? And you've seen him struggle since we weren't dominant to make tough decisions. And it's as if he lets these personal relationships, he places them above doing what a coach is supposed to do, is supposed to put the team above any individual player. And it doesn't seem like Kerr is capable of doing that anymore. Now, you're not going to fire him during the season, but if that's what they're saying, if they're being transparent here and they're like, hey, don't go get one of these guys, we don't have enough, then you look to move Draymond and you move off of Steve Kerr in the summer. And if Steph's happy with this and he wants to still retire there, you have to respect Steph's wishes, and you go in and get some youth, because Kuminga, Pods, those are the two guys that I'm interested in building towards the future. We've talked about Trace and his struggles, and like I'm fine with Trace being on the team, but he cannot be your starting center moving forward. You can make the argument he is our third best center, but he's playing the most minutes. Looney, probably better currently today. Slow-mo, why can't Slow-mo play the 5? You look at the matchup last night against this Raptors team, they're all 6'8" forwards. There was no reason why we couldn't play bigger last night with Gee only getting 12 minutes, Slow-mo only getting 18 minutes, right? But that's my issue. And then it's time. It's time. I've held back enough. It's time to talk about Moses Booty, right? Like he's a miss. It's a miss. He's not good. He's not good. They give him an extension and he seems happy. He's got his NBA money. He seems like a great kid. He's super polite, right? Everybody likes him. And again, that seems to have been the problem. When we talk about the draft evaluating and evaluations, it seems like they've prioritized character over talent. Now, I understand you look at someone like Cam Whitmore, who everyone was upset that they passed on, and now you're starting to see why. Beyond the knees being flagged, you're like, oh, he kind of a weirdo, right? Like, okay, we can see why all these teams passed it. I'm not saying you draft a bad apple just because he's talented, but I feel like they lean, if they're like, this guy might be a little more talented, but this guy's a better locker room fit culturally. He's really friendly and polite. That's been the misstep with some of these things. And Moses Moody is one of many of those. Great kid, fine. I'm not sure he's a rotational basketball player. He has a hard time getting his shot off. He's a mess defensively. Like, what else does he do? He doesn't do enough things well enough at the NBA level to warrant minutes. That said, I'd rather see him than Buddy Hield. What is with the doubling down on Buddy Hield? It's a disaster. He is a disaster with his shot selection, his ball security, his defense, everything. Was it because he gives the appearance of effort? Because he's friendly? Again, those are the mistakes, man. Those are the mistakes. And so, yeah, obviously, I'm worked up. I'm disappointed. We're less than a month away from the trade deadline, and we'll see what they do. Are they going to go get Vucevic? Are they going to make moves around the margins? I had a VIP podcast yesterday talking about some of these smaller trades. You know, I don't know if we can take all of this stuff at face value, but again, once the deadline hits, then I think we know what it is. And yeah, I'm done with Kerr. I didn't want to be that guy. I admit there was so much Kerr hate that I just wanted to push back on it a little bit and not be that guy. And I truly believe basketball is a player's sport and the NBA is a player's league, and it always has been. But the negligence of Steve the last year and a half now, I've had enough of it. And to me, the tipping point, as weird as it may sound, because I know some of you are going to be like, I had enough of it 3 years ago. I get it. The tipping point to me is if he's going to continue to roll Buddy out for 25 or 30 minutes right now, like it's almost sabotage. Maybe Kerr is way smarter than we think, and he's going to double down on Buddy because he wants Cooper Flag. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. I don't know what to tell you guys, but yeah, if that's what the core three are telling you and that's what they mean, that's what I'd do. I'd look to move Draymond for some value, some assets, and it's time to get a fresh voice in there for Kerr. There's a shelf life for these coaches. It seems like he can't motivate them. He sits there and watches them down the stretch. And when you look at his body language and the way he spoke, he was like, I failed him. I don't know. He just looks like he doesn't know what to do. Well, what I would say is do something. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. And at this point, I don't think anyone would have a problem with some more desperate, weird stuff. As far as like, hey, let's start slow-mo at the 5 in Minnesota. Let's see what that looks like, right? Like, let's start Gee in place of Draymond. By the way, the whole Raptors team was a Gee matchup. It's frustrating, y'all. It's frustrating, y'all. And I get, if you watch the Warriors casually or, it's just, I get those of you that want to tune out at this point in the season. And this is what I do for a living. This is how I put food on the table. So what I encourage you to do is check out my Patreon. I have a breakdown of every Warriors game, and I'm letting my frustration go on that. It's far more candid, entertaining, and it's a way for you to keep up with the Warriors, but not having to sacrifice your 2.5 hours every night to watch what they're doing. You can kind of get it condensed, have some fun, and still keep up with the team without spending so much time on this team because, frankly, right now it doesn't feel like they're worth our time, right? But the hardcores, we're always going to watch. We're always going to follow. We move on to Minnesota. And usually, I've been doing this long enough. Usually what happens is right when we're on the verge of like, this team is trash, watch them go on a run here the next like 2 or 3 games where it's like, oh, what is this? Watch, that's always how it happens. They just give you enough to keep hope alive. But that is the roller coaster ride of being a fan, right? Hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.